I'm sure there. Oh,
Go
here,
to your
video settings. Yeah,
video settings. There you go. I did see something on there. That's not what I'm using, but
yeah. Yeah, let's see this, but that's probably because I'm trying to rush and figure it out.
did you say you're a Russian?
I was rushing. I just came back from a photo shoot that ran a little long because I've been doing these pictures for this family for 12, 13 years. So I
Like
always
family Christmas photos or what?
yeah, it's like Christmas photo. They use it for that. But probably just I their one of their daughters is I think she's 12 now. And I remember doing their photos when she was like a baby. And so
Oh,
then he had a sister, and so I've been doing their photos forever. So I just got back, and every time I see him, it's always like, "How you guys doing?" You know, blah blah blah. And they go, and they're their kids go to the same schools, and their daughter plays soccer, like my son plays. So we're just chatting. I just got back, and I'm like, okay, I haven't had dinner. Excited to do this,
I
and
don't think anybody's going to care if you're eating while you're doing your
well, that's
office
good.
hours.
That's really good. I probably will be.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to care. We'll ask the chat. Chad, we got a few folks in here, but chat, do you care if Professor Olbinski tries to get some dinner in while he's educating everybody?
Right. I didn't know how this works because I haven't been able to attend. I've had just a lot going on, but so people are asking questions in the chat. Okay. I'll make sure to mute when I'm chomping. It'll really be dependent on if my wonderful wife Gina brings food home. That will we'll see if we get some good canes tonight, eating some really bad food.
Canes, we had canes last night. That is not my favorite chicken.
Yeah. No, I'd rather have Chick-fil-A. I'd rather have Chick-fil-A.
You know, everybody raves about the sauce.
Yeah, the sauce is good. I like the sauce.
But I don't like that kind of sauce. I don't like that stuff. So for me, it's just a plain chunk of chicken that I'm chowing on.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't like nothing special,
it's like what is it, like a Thousand Island kind of sauce or something that everybody. Yeah.
But how do you build a franchise on just some sauce? Like it's our sauce that makes our food taste good.
Yeah. No, I don't know. And what's really funny is the one by our house feels really slow a lot. And it's like, but you guys only do one thing, and it's like you either put 3 chicken strips in there or 4 or 5, and everything else is the same. Why are you so slow? Like, what are you doing?
How difficult is it? Hey, have you had their sandwiches?
No, are those good?
It's a bun with chicken strips in it. So
yeah,
even that's
yeah, that's not even that hard either. So yeah, no.
Canes. I don't get canes honestly, but
it's like close, and it's like I don't know why, but it seems like it's easy for us. I wish we had something else around, but we do have Chick-fil-A. But the problem is we, my wife and I are she works from home. She that's her desk all day, and I work from here, and we take the kids to school, and I just go get Chick-fil-A usually for us in the morning. So it's like I can't have it for dinner too. Just so bad. You have 3 kids. You have kids, right? And they're older.
I have 2. Yep, I've got 2. They're both high school.
Yeah. So it's just we have 3, and there's always stuff going on, and it's like sometimes we just can't cook every night, and I try to cook them breakfast in the morning when I can to try to get them off, start them off right, but at night sometimes we cook, sometimes we don't. Yeah, Jack Kelly's right. Chick-fil-A is better than Cane's for sure. Chick-fil-A breakfast is underrated. No one ever talks about their breakfast because they're
with the chicken minis. Oh,
I like the chicken minis, but they're chicken biscuits, like a chicken egg and cheese biscuit. If you get dude, it is a calorie.
I don't know if I mix that, but okay.
It's good. But they also have a sausage one, which is also very good, and their hash browns are good. So.
All right, so we'll be asking for some sponsorship dollars from Chick-fil-A here soon.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess we can kiss our Canes deal goodbye as well. So
I think the chat will be okay with that because they don't seem to really like Canes.
They probably will. So I'm seeing Kazaki. I'm seeing Radar Shark is on here. Anna has a title like audience coordinator or something like that. She's invited to speak, so I'm going to bring her in.
Yep, that is me.
So did I get that right, Anna? Your audience coordinator?
Yep, I just pop in and out.
Okay.
Anna.
So tell me what. So I'm new to this. So everybody that's tuning in so far, and obviously Professor Olbinski, this is your first office hour.
Yes,
Professor. I'm going to call you Professor, by the way.
That's right. That's right. I'll call you Senior Phil because you're a lot older looking than me. How old are you, Phil?
You were the one talking about taking photos of a family with a baby, and now she's grown up.
How old are you?
I'm somewhere up there.
All right, go ask your question.
I think we're pretty close. But so Anna, so I want to know, I'm trying to obviously learn everybody, and this is weird because we've got two new people on at the same time. So Anna, you might have to help us through this process. But what are you gonna do? How can I help you do your job, I guess? Or
so
how are you helping
have the
us?
Google document open?
I do, yes.
So
sweet.
In short, I'll be taking all the questions that we get in the chat. Nothing's off limits. Well, some things are off limits, but it's the obvious. Chaser Academy members, which will be highlighted in the pink red color, will be given priority for questions and requests to speak. And then the rest of our members can also ask questions as well, but they'll come in later in the queue. And I'll have it organized for you in the document once things get
perfect.
started.
I need organization, Anna. So that is good to know. That is good to know. So,
and I'm very particular about it.
Okay, so I got to be careful, is what you're saying. I can't mess with your system. So I'm just
mess it up anyway. You're a pro. This is what you do. No one knows that. People here in the chat, I don't know if Anna's gonna do anything, but Phil's like legendary Stormfront Freaks podcast host. This is just second nature for you.
Yeah, so I'm hosting. That's the fun. Here's the fun part, Professor, is that so I get to come on and I get to have fun. Like the podcast, it was always coming on after a week's worth of prep of getting the guest and the agenda going and the script set up, and it was a big production thing, and it was done with that. So I was pumped when Gabriel reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to just come on and host? You don't have to do the work. You just can talk with folks." I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Great.
So essentially how these go is people will chat in the chat or ask questions, and pretty laid back for these office hours. People will probably ask you questions, ask Mike questions, and then I'm just here.
Awesome. Well, it's certainly good having you. We'll take
they ask them right there in the chat, or you're getting them in the Google Doc because I missed
so
that
I'll get them in the
chat and I'll put them in the doc.
Yeah, so I'll be looking in the doc because she's got this figured out. And again, those of you that are Academy members, so we get to see you in red or pink. I don't know what's the difference between red and pink, Anna?
I have no idea what Gabe was thinking when he did that color. I think what we were trying to do was like radar reflectivity colors for everybody.
Oh, cool. There you go. Little Easter egg for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, those of you that are Academy members, you're in red, and so you guys are going to get top of the order with the questions for Professor Olbinski. And here's the fun part: is I know right now the Chaser Academy is doing a 30-day free trial. So for the most part, all of you could go ahead and register for the 30-day free trial and actually turn your name red and jump to the front of the line. That to me, that's should do
another option for if you choose to do an annual subscription, you will get 4 months free. So you get your 30-day free trial. Then when you do the annual subscription payment, you get up to 3 extra months free.
Score. So I'm going to start with this. So those of you that don't know, Michael Olbinski, he is not only an amazing, legendary storm chaser, but where his legend really grows is he is on the Mount Rushmore of storm chasing photographers. And I'll tell you what, if you have not seen any of Mike's time-lapse films, you are missing out. So Mike, quick plug, where can people go find some of those right now?
They could go to YouTube, look my name up on YouTube. I'm the only one on there. And you can, I think
you're the only one on YouTube?
The only Olbinski on YouTube is what I mean. And there's a playlist, probably time-lapse films. I have been going nuts with YouTube since I put out my last film. So I got a lot of shorts and a lot of I've been doing some mini time-lapse vignettes that are like a couple minutes long of specific chase days, which has actually been really fun for me because if anyone knows what I do, I usually will chase for 2 full seasons, either the monsoon here in Arizona where I live or the plains, and chase tornadoes and supercells. And then I take all that footage from 2 years and make like a big 10-minute, 12-minute time-lapse film to music. So I've been trying to just put more content out there because, man, it's kind of like you shoot all these photos every spring and then you show them and then they sit on your hard drive and no one ever sees them again. And so I've been trying to take, like a really cool chase day and put, just all those clips in a row. Oh, here's my dog. She wants something, and put them to something. So I've been doing some of that. So you can go to YouTube and see that right now. Stop.
If you do that, like put that off to the side, you could be playing that while you're watching and asking Mike questions. This is office hours, which means Mike, who's one of the coaches with the Academy, this gives you an opportunity like at a university or an academy to be able to stop by Professor Olbinski's office while he's here for an hour and just ask some general questions that you might have. And again, those of you that really want to learn photography and even videography with that, he would be, this is the guy you want to be asking questions with. So we're going to start right off the bat. It looks like Seymour 4198 Academy says, what are some good tips on starter newbie photography gear? And I'm going to say besides your iPhone, because that's mine.
Yeah. Well, I will say if all you have is a phone, one thing I try to tell people a lot is try using it in slow-mo mode if you're chasing a storm and there's lightning happening. No one ever thinks about that for some reason. They're always trying to capture it with a still photo. Try to slow your video down to like whatever it does, 240 frames a second, where you can actually capture lightning in slow-mo, which is very, very cool. But photography is a very, involved, complicated thing. It's one of those, I'm sure it's like any hobby that you're like, oh, this is cool. I'll buy a $500 camera that comes with a lens. And the next thing you know, you want the next camera, the next lens, and it turns into a $15,000 hobby real quick with all the tripods and gear and stuff. So if it's something you're really, really interested in and want to do, then I think it's a matter of choosing a beginner camera or seeing if someone has one they can loan you, someone buy one for really cheap that's used. One thing about cameras that I've learned over the years is that you can buy used ones and they're great. I would say most of my gear that I have right now, other than my Canon R5, is used, where I bought it from someone on Facebook Marketplace or wherever. And even the next thing I was going to say is, if you don't want to buy one, rent one from a place like lensrentals.com, where you can get one sent to you for, I think $100 for like a week, and play with it, see how you like it. They will also sell like used gear, where I've gotten some pretty expensive lenses for like half the cost that they, so there's ways to go about doing that. But the big thing is to try to get a camera, play with it, see if you like it. It's a whole different thing. One thing that Phil knows when it comes to storm chasing in general is there's all these different passions that people have when they're chasing. They're there for the science. They're there to capture crazy video. They're live streaming. That's their whole focus. If you know Daniel Shaw, his whole focus is live streaming. I am all about photography and time lapse. That's what I focus on. Some people, like, the infamous Reed Timmer, is really just about crazy video and getting hit by a tornado. And everyone has their different things. So if photography is something you're passionate about, get a camera, start going out and taking pictures of storms and clouds, and just, see how you like it. And as far as like what camera to get, I mean, that's really, really a tough question, because there's Nikon, there's Sony, there's Canon. Those are like 3 big ones.
What would be some of the basics within those brands?
I mean, it's really like, Canon probably has a basic like Rebel series. I'm not sure if it's called that anymore. It'd be like a T7i or something. That's, like a $600 camera that comes with 18 to 55 zoom lens. I don't know much about what the Nikon and Sony entry level cameras are. I have been, for the most part, a Canon guy since I bought my Canon Rebel back in like 2009, 2010. And I've had a brief stint into Sony, and then went back to Canon when they came out with the mirrorless stuff. And so that's kind of been where I'm at. But really, it's, maybe examine the lines of cameras and see which ones you like the best. I really like Canon. Sony is really good, but the thing about, kind of starting off, I guess, if you start off on Canon, then it's like you kind of just stay in that area where you get, a mirrorless, and then the batteries are interchangeable. You can get lenses, they can go on another body, stuff like that. Whereas switching from Canon to like Sony requires you to kind of just get everything new. So um, once you pick your path, you kind of like, unless you just got a lot of disposable income and you want to sell it and go to another one, it's, worth just picking one and sticking with it. There's really nothing there's no way you can go wrong with a Canon or a Nikon. And the gear, I know we're talking about gear, but for me, gear is, you want it, but it's not as important as just being on the storms and knowing how to capture them once you're there. So
what if someone's brand new, Mike, and they've never used a DSLR,
yeah,
or mirrorless, how long would you recommend that they give themselves to really learn it and figure it out?
Well, I have been
before
doing
they give up.
before you give up. I mean, it's something that I would say, I mean, to me, like renting a camera is probably, you're not going to have a good enough time with it to really understand it and see how much you like it. So I would say to buy a cheap $600, which for some people is not cheap, but in terms of DSLRs, buy a cheap Canon Rebel, go take it around with you everywhere you go, take pictures of things, take pictures of your family, your dogs, your pets, the sky. Like I mean, my whole journey was getting a camera and I was obsessed. So I took that gear and I would just take it with me, and I'd shoot like an abandoned building, and I would go, and the sun was going down, there were clouds, I'd drive to like some field and just shoot the sunset. And everything was a learning process to figure out what I liked, what I wanted to shoot. And if you do that and then you're like, man, this is boring, I don't really like it, then it's probably not for you. But if you're obsessed with it so much that you go out and you take your camera everywhere you go and you're just taking pictures. I mean, photography is an art. It's not that's kind of the funny thing about, like, well, you could just shoot on an iPhone, like, what do I need? No, but photography is an art, and in some ways, sometimes you can learn how to become like a photographer, and sometimes it's in you and you just, or it's not. Like, yeah, I can't be a painter, I can't draw, there's just no way, it's never going to happen. And I think some people also have that extra thing where, like, yeah, you pick up photography and you just get it, you see it, you mesh with it. And but it's definitely something you have to just practice all the time. So get a camera, take it with you wherever you go.
So Seymour wanted to kind of continue, just talk a little bit about the mirrorless cameras. Mm-hmm. What have you seen the pros and cons since you've gotten involved with those?
So I have one mirrorless, the Canon R5, and then I still do my time lapses on older 5DSRs that are DSLRs. Everything's going to be mirrorless going forward, so there's really it's not going to matter what the pros and cons are, unless you are like me, that are stuck with I still like shooting the DSLRs, because the big thing for me, at least, is dust spots. Doing time lapses for me are a big problem, because I have a lot of post work to fix a dust spot in a time lapse, and it's not as simple as, if anyone knows anything about photography and Lightroom, like, oh, you just fix a dust spot, easy. Well, on a time lapse, it can be really problematic to fix it on 900 frames and something. It's a whole other subject. The mirrorless, usually the bodies are smaller, the sensor's close to the front, and there's no mirror blocking it. They tend to pick up more dust. So I kind of will, for time lapse, I stick to the older ones. However, the mirrorless, I mean, this Canon R5 is a fantastic camera, and like it when I got it, it was great. It just everything about it, it's faster focus, it's faster, all this stuff. I started using it to do the weddings and portraits that I do on the side to, as well. And I mean, I can just take pictures of people, hold a certain kind of focus button down where it detects a face. And so these, and it catch your face really fast. I can just focus, like hold that button down, do servo, and I'm never missing focus anymore with these cameras. It's crazy. And so the mirrorless bodies are like, they're all like newer tech, they're better, and everything's going to be mirrorless at some point. And I think it pretty much is. Like, you're not getting a new Canon or Sony that's not mirrorless. Like, that I know of. I don't think so. Anything else that's not mirrorless, you end up having to buy used. I don't know that they sell them anymore. So the pros they're great, and that's the way everything is going. So
the settings don't change, do they? From the DSLR to mirrorless, it's no different there, right?
Yeah, there's probably going to be some setting. The sensors are changing. There's, things like the global shutter, electronic shutter, mechanical shutter, like some of that stuff changes. And I will say, before if I get into any more details, I am way more of like, I just want to go chase storms and love them and use my camera to the best of my ability. But I am not somebody who's read the manual and knows everything about the ins and outs of the technical aspects of every part of a camera. So I know that as we go to mirrorless, things are changing, sensors are changing, global, when there's video modes on these cameras as well. And so the global shutter, mechanical shutter, all that stuff kind of helps with, capturing lightning different, and all that kind of stuff. So I lost my train of thought.
That's good, because we've got a lot of questions here. People either have watched your time lapse videos or they are currently watching them now, but we definitely have some questions. We got Academy member, I'm going to mess up the name, Salokin, Storm Chasing. Forgive me on that. And two, just heads up too, if you guys want to come in and actually talk and ask your question, you can raise your hand, and of course we'll get our Academy members first. But he says, Mike, how do you make the time lapse at sunset look so smooth? I took a time lapse of a storm at sunset, and it really looked amazing until it got too dark, and I had to change my settings, and I ruined it.
It sucks. Well, that's how I started out too. So there's a couple ways, and that's a little bit. It can get in the weeds talking about the details of it, but generally, I'm adjusting my time lapses as they're happening. So as it's getting darker, I am adjusting my shutter speed to make it to keep up with the light dropping. Now, you are gonna say, like, yeah, that ruined my time lapse because I'm gonna have all these jumps and stuff. Well, there's a program called LR Timelapse, and my food is here. There's a program called LR Timelapse that will take a whole sequence of your images, notice the jumps, and fix it for you. And there's really, I don't know that there's anybody making any other software out there at all that does anything like that. LR Timelapse is king. It's the one you should get. It's free to try for, amateur, kind of like you're only making up to like a couple hundred frames, 200 to 300 frames. It's free. But if you go above that, I think it gets like watermarked, and there's a pro version and all this stuff. But it is generally the best tool for doing that. So anytime you're chasing a storm, whether it's sunset or not, as the storm gets closer to you, generally the light drops. It always gets darker. Excuse me. And so LR Timelapse will fix that, because I'm always trying to keep my time lapses from getting dark. And the other thing you can do, which I don't like to do this because I like to really maintain control because I shoot in manual mode, is some people with one of the actual benefits of some of the newer mirrorless is that their light meters are even better. So you could shoot a time lapse in AV mode, which is you set it to F8 and it will adjust the shutter for itself and try to keep it balanced. I don't necessarily like that because when you're chasing storms, the scenes tend to be lightning active and they're flashing, and then your AV mode may not handle that too well, because it could meter on a scene where a lightning flashes and makes the shutter speed really fast and dark, and then it can meter differently. So that's another way that people will do those sunset things where it's kind of like a really smooth transition.
So kind of moving on that, and again, folks, Mike's got to eat a little bit too.
It's
so
okay.
Professor
It's okay.
Olbinski's gonna help nourish himself. But so the next one again deals with time lapse. This is from Adam, one of our Academy members. Says, Mike, my son and I are huge fans of weather. We love your time lapse vorticity videos.
Thank you.
You're in a big crowd. Truly remarkable. We're both green in the area of time lapse videography. I was wondering how you pan your videos slowly to the left or right on each of the time-lapse clips.
I do that all in Premiere Pro. It's just a matter of keyframing some motion where generally, you know, I put those out in 4K, and that's a certain like resolution, like 36, 20, 38, 60, whatever the width is. My time lapses are 8K, so my video files are gigantic. I shrink them down, and there's parts of the clips on the left and the right and the top and bottom that aren't on the frame, and so I can take it from here and then just slide it across in Premiere Pro, and it feels like it's panning. And the one thing I tried to do when I first started out was to maybe do the panning out in the field and use a motorized head on my tripod to kind of move it. And for me, it's just too much. It's too much. If anyone's chased a storm knows, sometimes they're moving fast, sometimes they're moving slow, sometimes you think they're going to go to the left and they come at you, sometimes they turn. Like, it's figuring that stuff out in the moment, it's too much. So I just do my best to frame it and let it go and let the storm speak for itself. So that's how I do it.
Which that's good, because it leads into the next question we got from Kazaki. Because he's asking too, and I think this is a great question. Like, when you're out storm chasing, things are happening so fast. Sometimes, right? There are other times that they're not, and those are a blessing to be able to watch something that's not moving super fast.
Yes.
But usually, you know, things are moving. Like when it's time to go, when it's go time, you're going, you're moving. Now, I know Mike, a lot of his time lapse stuff, he does a great job of, you know, he's not a 0 meter kind of guy. Because he gets all of that great footage from a fair distance to be able to encompass the entire mesocyclone that's happening, and so that's what makes those videos so great. But Kazaki's question is, hey, when you're filming storms, how are you deciding whether you should prioritize scale, motion, or light when all of that stuff is going on?
Oh my gosh. Great question. It sucks. It's hard. One thing that helps me a little bit is I time lapse with two cameras. So if I have a really beautiful supercell in front of me with all this structure, I can time lapse a really wide angle view of it with one camera. And then let's say there's a tornado, a really cool wall cloud or something. Also, I can time lapse with my other camera at like a 50 millimeter. So I have one shooting wide at like 12 millimeter, getting the whole storm, and the other one really tight in. Sometimes I can take that other camera and pan it on a whole different storm. Maybe there's like a really gorgeous updraft happening, like at sunset, and I can shoot that instead. So sometimes I'm trying to do both of those things at the same time. It's really hard learning what you like, where to position, and like you said, not 0 metering, because I don't want, as much as possible, I don't want raindrops on my lens, because it ruins a time lapse for me. So I'm trying to be in a position where I'm out of the rain. I don't mind the storm coming at me, but I would also like to hang in there longer, if possible, to have it get close to me as possible before I have to leave. So I'm trying to figure out where the precip is. I'm watching radar to see the direction of the storm, where my GPS location is, to position, to so there's all these things going in my head trying to figure that out. And when it comes to figuring out light and all that stuff, I mean, a lot of that is just going to be going out there and learning and experiencing it. I have a whole strategy. I love to get the structure of a supersonic. I want to be there to get that mothership. But then when it starts getting darker and maybe the sun's going down, there's a time when you have to decide, do I want to stay here or do I want to let the storm go by and I go west and get the sunset on the backside of the storm and the light and the stars and the flashing updraft? So there's these different views. And sometimes it's really hard for me because I want to see the mothership structure if there is any. I love structure. And there's so many times that I regret that I am shooting structure for too long that I didn't get the other side, because it can be just as amazing. And there was a day a couple years ago where this Roswell, we were just by Roswell and this storm exploded and it had awesome structure and then went over our heads and we would have to do this big loop to get back in front of it. And I had like a film crew with me and they were kind of like, let's just shoot this. This will be cool. So we got this exploding updraft as it went away from us at sunset. It was gorgeous. But of course, I see some of the photos of the structure later with big lightning bolts, and I'm like, oh. So, but you can't be in two places at once. So you got to pick where you want to be. It's tough.
So the next question comes from our storm chaser, Radar Shark, and he's got a question, or she, I guess, I'm not sure which, but Radar Shark. The question relates to using your phone. And of course, I'll be honest with all of you, is that there was a point in my chasing career where I thought I'd go the DSLR route and really start learning that and figuring it out. And I just personally, I didn't have the patience for it. And Mike said a great thing early on where everybody's got their own reason for chasing and why they do it and what they're trying to get out of it. And for me, it wasn't taking the kind of photos like Mike can get. Mike does that. I can't be Mike. Sometimes I dream that he is me.
Sometimes I dream I was him too, because that
like Mike. If I could be like Mike. All right. So here's the question. He wants to know, how do I take good video and pictures for my YouTube videos with my phone, because a true camera can be too expensive?
Well, so what I'll say is I do on my YouTube channel, all my vlogs, if I can actually pronounce that correctly, all that are kind of like just a story of the day, videos of me chasing. That's all with my phone. And it's the quickest, easiest thing that I have on me. And it's really like, they look pretty great. I mean, the phones these days, you get great 4K video. The only thing that's tough, I think, a little bit is when it gets dark and the sound is not as great as you want it to be, especially if it's windy outside. Most people don't care. I get some comments on the wind sound on the mic where it's kind of annoying, but I actually like it. So I think using your phone in 4K video mode is great for YouTube. It's perfect. And the photos it takes is good too. What you really have to learn with your phone is when you take a photo, it's not to just kind of hold it up and take a picture, but you can also touch the screen to make sure the exposure is good. Like, let's say you've got a kind of a bright scene or it has a certain kind of exposure and you're like, well, it's a little bright. You can actually click on or touch parts of the screen on your phone and then drop the exposure down to balance it out. Like, there's certain things you can do to try to get a better picture, make sure it's sharp and all that. But even phones have a tough time with some of that. Like sunset colors, I notice on the iPhone can be tricky. Like wide angle lens on the iPhone, the sunset colors get a little janky. If I zoom in a little more with it, I think the other lens, it's a little better. So I think you can do decent. I definitely think you can just go chase with your phone and make some great videos. And that's pretty much what I do. Anything that I want to improve, I do like have a 360 camera and I wish I had a better mic for some of that stuff, but your phone can do great. It's just, you probably want to keep upgrading your phone anytime a new one comes out, because the video quality is just going to get better and better.
And and I'll share too, Radar Shark, that's me, right? So I also went, just decided my phone is taking everything that I need for it to take, which is, for me, when I chase, it's just verification that I was there and I saw some cool stuff. And I can go back to it and look like I'm not into, I got to post all this and I got to, that's not why I chase. But so for me, having something that small, quick to take. There's actually even lightning trigger apps that you can get for your phone that I've used that work pretty darn good. So I've had a lot of success with that. But switching gears, Professor, we've had not only a couple of our staff folks, not only Hannah, but the great Gabriel has also kind of wanted to know your origin story, right? Like, what either got you the weather bug, or what was that kind of defining moment or storm in your career that really changed things for you?
It's a lot. It feels like I've been chasing a long time, so it's a long story, but I'm
How
gonna
old
keep
are
it
you?
quick. I've just turned 50 this year, and I'm proud of it, Phil. Um, I I live in Phoenix. We don't get a lot of rain. It's a desert out here in central Arizona, but in the monsoon season, we get some spectacular storms. And I grew up with a dad who likes storms, and I very vivid memory of a lightning bolt striking a couple 100 feet behind our house while we were sitting outside watching it on the patio. And I never forget that moment. And I've always liked weather, always been the guy that would post radar shots on Facebook and tell people storms were coming like 20 years ago, whenever Facebook came out. And when I wanted to start taking pictures of storms, it was lightning photography that drew me to it in the first place. There was Weather Underground back in the day that had a whole photo section. There was a guy named Shane Kirk, one of my friends now. I would see his lightning images from Kansas, and I was like, oh my God, how do you do that? And so that's where it started. I wanted to shoot lightning. And, I just grabbed the crappy point and shoot we had, went out, got lucky a couple times because that was not a camera to shoot lightning with, but I somehow caught a couple. Then told my wife I need a better camera. Went and got the Canon Rebel for $600. Started doing better. Started watching Storm Chasers and realizing there was actually people out there who went and chased storms, and started driving further from my house to go. Sorry, Gabe's that gif of that dog is hilarious. And I was like, oh, I can, when I was trying to get lightning, I was just driving to the corner by my house and hoping a storm would come by sometimes. And then I'm like, oh, I can actually go out after it. So that was really like the thing that got me into all that. And then in 2011, I caught the big dust storm, July 5th, 2011 over Phoenix. That was like the most historic dust storm that's ever hit town. And I happened to be just starting out, trying out time lapse with the cameras I had. Had a video of it go viral, and that kind of put me a little bit more on the map, got me on the Weather Channel finally, for the first time. And then I had another time lapse go viral in 2013 of a supercell. And a lot of that was, there's passion I've had for it my whole life. And then having a couple of time lapses I shot go viral and have people really, really respond to it was kind of this confirmation that I was doing what I was supposed to do. Somehow, storm chasing is very, very difficult. I'm very, very blessed to have been able to turn it into a career for the last 13, 14 years. It's a struggle. I do other things, like I shoot weddings, and I sell, print. I just do whatever I can, run tours. I love chasing by myself. Like, it's one of my favorite things is to go hit the road and chase storms, no one else around, and just do it. But I got to earn a living to do it, and I got to pay for my kids' car. Bought my daughter a car this summer because she's freaking 17 now, and so I run tours, to take people chasing that come from all over the world to pay the bills, and I love those people too. So yeah, but that's kind of how it started in a nutshell.
The interesting thing is, you talk a little bit about some of the things that the haboobs and the dust storms that you've really caught. So living down in Arizona, you're also kind of down in the monsoon areas. So that's big. I guess I'm curious how that. Do this first, like for someone who might be brand new watching tonight and not really know either what a monsoon is or a haboob.
Yeah.
Explain what those are, and tell us how 2025 go for you with that.
So we've got monsoon is basically, it's a definition that really means a seasonal shift in winds that brings a rainy season. It's really prevalent in India. It's really devastating in India, where it'll be dry and all of a sudden the weather patterns shift and they just get tons of storms and flooding. And unfortunately, the infrastructure there is not great, so a lot of people will end up dying in flooding. So for us, Arizona, like the plains, right? We got these, like the jet stream will bring cold fronts through the plains all the time. It's where we get severe weather in like April, May, and June. But then around the end of June into July, we get high pressure that sets up. And that will set up right around Arizona, Four Corners area, if you guys know what Four Corners are. And that will set up there, and that pulls moisture up from Mexico, Gulf of California, and that floods Arizona with moisture that we don't usually have. Coupled with the heat, creates CAPE. Then we get these storms that form over the mountains, outflows come off those storms and create more storms. And then, a haboob is really just a big dust storm. And dust storms are formed by all those thunderstorms that just collapse and create these strong downbursts of wind that out here, it's just, it's dry and desert. There's a lot of farmlands that are, could either be like abandoned and not taken care of. And so there's a lot of dust around. And so we'll get these big dust storms. And this last August 25th, I haven't seen a good one over downtown Phoenix in a really long time. In this summer, we had a monster one that was just, I was on adrenaline high for 2 days. Like after that, I had been really lucky with,
that says a lot coming from you.
Well, it's just what I live for.
With what you've seen, right?
Yeah, with what I've seen. I thought it for the one, the big one in 2011, this was the second best one I've ever seen over Phoenix. It was, and I was at the airport and I got a time lapse where little planes are taking off in front of it and it's just coming and it's like, it was wonderful. I had a reporter from the Arizona Republic, the main newspaper here, she's an environmental reporter, and she wanted to do a story on me and chasing. And so she went with me, and I had a photographer from there as well. So we happened to all mesh on this day where I got to take them from 100 miles south of here and follow a dust storm all the way to downtown Phoenix. And it was just great. So that was really fun. It was actually a slower monsoon till the end this year. September, October went nuts, and Phoenix we got so much rain in October that was record breaking, but before that it was pretty crappy. So it's the monsoon. People really want to, when they see storms, they're like, I want to go after tornadoes and supercells and all that stuff, which makes sense. Look at the pictures behind you. That's great. The monsoon is a little bit of a different beast because it's a lot more lightning. There's dust storms, but in Arizona we have just amazing landscapes and mountains and viewpoints where you can capture, I end up feeling like sometimes I will go out and chase all spring and then get my best photos in Arizona that summer. For me personally, I like these pictures better. And it's interesting. So it's a whole different kind of vibe, and I find it really fun. And I wish other people had that kind of stormy season around where they lived.
All right, Seymour is back at it with another question, and this was one of the things I loved. When I started the podcast, 10 years ago, I was a newbie. So 2016 was when I started also chasing. And this weather community and the meteorological industry uses tons of acronyms. And so trying to figure out what's that acronym? So I'm about to share one that just off the top of my head, Seymour, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sure the professor does. But have you ever tried to catch TLEs? What's a TLE?
I think those are sprites.
Okay.
I've tried to catch them a little bit. Yeah. Transient luminous event.
There you go. Thank you.
Sprites.
Thanks, Seymour.
Yeah. I knew what they were. It's really funny because if you want to find the sprites, go find, sorry, I was trying to decide if that was Gabe had shaved or not, but I don't think that's him.
That's
in that
not.
picture, I was like, not. Wait.
You wouldn't know it if he did. I just share that.
I would know who that he was. I would have no idea who he was if he shaved. But yeah, no, you should go follow Paul Smith Photography and Pecos, Hank, or Sprite people. I've tried a little bit. I think I have one, but I don't know what it is. But by the time I'm done chasing all day, and I don't know, I'm ready to go find a hotel, especially when I'm leading tours. I am like, hey, we could go drive 100 miles away from this storm so we could try to shoot Sprites, or we could just get a hotel right here and go to bed. So, and yeah, get a beer and all that. So, but I would like to try a little bit more this year, and it's one of those things where you got to know, I think, how to do it, and I haven't gotten that excited about it yet. It's kind of like the full moon. I don't know what it is. I'm also seeing a lot more Sprite photos, and they look the same, and I'm like, man, to make a Sprite photo, well, I should take that back. They don't look the same. Some of them are spectacular. Paul Smith has captured some that I'm like, oh my God, like there's just so much, like a jellyfish or whatever, like so much going on. But to get a good foreground and to make it look really good and not super grainy is like takes a little bit of effort, and I'm usually just too tired by then. And it's just like some things with photography that we were talking about before is, what do you like, And for me, it's a little bit hard to just sit there 100 miles away in a distant storm and just fire the camera. And unless I got a good book to read and I'm by myself and I can just chill and let that happen, and that's also fun. But yeah, I haven't gotten too into that.
And those are hard. Like I know very little. Again, I'm a little bit like you, Mike. I can take some nighttime lightning shots for about 20, 30 minutes, get some decent ones, and I'm good. Like, I don't need to keep trying to get even more decent lightning shots if I've already got a few.
Well, that is not like me, because what the difference is a Sprite. Okay. A Sprite is like, to me, is like, it's off in the distance. I'm just hoping I catch something. I might have to scroll back on my camera to see. Chasing lightning, I could do it till 5 a.m. till the sun's coming up, because I never get sick of it. I don't know what it is, but lightning is addicting, and it's, especially when you're like close. So I like all the lightning shots. There are times though where I'm like, okay, yeah, it's 4 a.m. I get home, I get an hour sleep so I can take the kids to school. But I'm like that with Sprites. I think I could try for half an hour and go, if I didn't get it, it's hotel time.
So to be able to really forecast that, and that's Hannah was kind of questioning this a little bit, because I don't know, because honestly that's not something I would care about.
Yeah.
How are you even knowing if a particular storm could produce them, and how far away do you need to be?
I'm not 100% sure on like the distance. I think they happen well above the storm. So sometimes in the pictures I've seen, you might see a faint glow on the horizon from a distant storm, but not even see the top of the storm and get the Sprite above it. So you have to be pretty far away, like 100, 200, 300 miles. I think the thing that really enhances the chances is what's known as an MCS, or your green Sprite can disappeared.
Connor, I'm with Connor. I got my Sprite.
That's actually cool. You really want like MCS events, which are mesoscale convective systems, where it's like a big line of storms where there's so much lightning going on. It's like increasing your odds of Sprites like 1,000 times probably, compared to like if you had one single supercell and you're hoping to get a Sprite over it. I don't know that I've seen much of that. It's mostly like a big line of storms you're trying to catch something over some part of it. So the best thing to do is you're looking at the radar going, hey, tonight there's going to be a big MCS going across Oklahoma. It'll probably be somewhere in central Oklahoma by midnight. And I live west, let's say, I don't know, Lawton or Woodward. Well, tonight, when the storm goes by into distance, I'm just going to go sit out there and try to catch Sprites as the MCS is moving to the east. That's really the best way to do it. If you know there's going to be a distant MCS that night, try to set up for it. Probably going away from you more than coming at you, because if it comes at you, then the clouds are going to spread and you're not going to see it. You really want it kind of going away from you a little bit, I think.
Yep. A radar shark one, and we were talking about monsoons. Do landspouts happen with monsoons? Have you witnessed that?
I've seen them. I might have got one or two, but they don't last. They're not like out on the plains. There was a good one that John Serlin, my friend John, got a few years back, but it was in a quasi like we have something that is kind of called transition season, which is towards the end of the monsoon. The high pressure I was talking about will kind of get broken down, and the cold front will kind of come through and end the monsoon, basically kind of just destroy that high or push it off somewhere, and then we kind of end. So I think we had like a cold front coming through. There was a cold core, and there was a really great landspout. And I actually was out that day. I was driving home from a soccer match that I took my son to in Tucson, and we're driving on the freeway, and I look in my rear. There was a storm. I didn't have any cameras. My son was sleeping. I think I wanted to get him home. And I'm like, if I had a camera, I probably would have pulled off right there on the freeway and shot that storm because it looked really cool. But I'm like, I should just get home. And
he was sleeping.
He's sleeping. I know I should have. And then, and I didn't have my cameras with me. I just had my phone, but that would have been good enough on this day. And then I drive, and like another mile, I look back and I see a skinny like tornado, and I'm like, what? And I could literally pull off on the median and do a U-turn in the median because there's a freaking landspout tornado back there. I go back and I'm trying to get video of it, but of course John was like right there. And if I had stopped, I would have had the whole thing happening in front of me. Oh, so pissed. But they happen. Roger Hill has a good one. I think he caught out by Wilcox like a decade ago or something. And rare, but they happen mostly that I've seen up in northeastern Arizona on like Navajo Indian Nation land. They tend to happen up there a lot, and I don't know exactly why.
What's the road network like up there?
Yeah, not great. It's not great. And it's sparsely populated, so then when you see photos of them, you're like, I bet they happen up there a lot. And someone has a picture of a good one with like near Monument Valley where it's in the distance and you see one of the plateau kind of monuments up. And there's definitely some like terrain features and things.
I was going to say there's got to be something that kicks that up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
You can quick get a bite to eat. Salakin Storm Chasing said to Phil, if you could pick your favorite weather event you've chased or captured, it would probably, so you have to understand my chasing is like chasecation stuff, right? So I get out to the plains typically once a year for a week, to really do good chasing. And then, cause I live in Ohio, and Gabriel knows this and has talked about this multiple times, how sucky Ohio is for the most part, unless you like to chase, MCL, mesoscale convective kind of lines of tornadoes where they're going 60 miles an hour, or you want to try and see something at night. That always seems to be the chasing in the Ohio area. Indiana a little bit better. Kentucky could be better if the terrain didn't suck so bad. But I would say 2019, it was probably the Linwood Lawrence EF4 in Kansas, only because I was able to see that from initiation and then chase it. Now I ended up chasing that because you have to understand. So I started chasing in 2016. So this is 3 years into a kind of part-time chaser situation. You could tell that thing was a beast. And so I kept my distance, and it really was rain wrapped. Once it really started forming, it really became rain wrapped very quickly. So visually, it wasn't certainly the greatest, but it was a fun chase to be with that and drive with that basically through initiation. That was fun. That was my kick. Okay. Good old Gabriel wants to know, have you ever traveled for aurora photography? How are the auroras down in Arizona?
I traveled like 40 minutes for one. I'm trying to find, like, I know I have a landspout photo from a couple years ago I was trying to find from the monsoon. Oh, there it is. I'm sending this in the chat just for people that were asked about landspout. This is one that I thought, I wasn't sure it was one, but it sure as heck looked like one.
Wow, yeah, it does.
That's in the chat. No, I kind of regret it. So the hard part for me is that I'm really busy from chasing storms from May to like October, basically, with the monsoon. And then the rest of the year, man, I've got the kids and soccer and all that stuff. And I try to, I guess, take a little bit of a break. And so traveling far to go get the Aurora, I'm like, oh man, like I just don't want to. And so I haven't, but I did go a couple years ago. I think 2 years ago or last year we had the Aurora here, and I went out down just the east part of town where they had was darker, and there was saguaro, and I got a nice saguaro with purple behind it, but not anything great
Legit.
with the yeah, nothing like, I mean, it was legit in terms of like, man, I take a photo, it's purple, it was cool, but
right.
but not with like the pillars and the overhead stuff. So
Yeah.
I would like to do that, but I think what happens is sometimes it's a little last minute. Oh, it's tonight. It's going to be great. And then it's like, but I live in
Right.
Phoenix, so some
Right.
people that live north, they're able to like, oh, I can drive 8 hours and get to Nebraska real quick. For me, it's like I gotta, but yeah, I'm not. I feel like once I would experience one in like Iceland where it's overhead dancing, that would probably cause me to have like a religious moment that everybody says. But um, no, but I do run a photo contest, the storm photos of the year, and we added the Aurora category last year, so we will be judging those again this year.
Maybe talk a little bit about that. When does that open up for the 2025 entries?
Yeah, that opens up February 1st, and then the entries for the entire month of February, stormphotocontest.com. And it's a work of passion for that. For me, it doesn't really make any money, and I try to pay the judges and I try to pay out prizes, but we've got a new sponsor this year, the Weatherfront radar people that are obviously part of this as well.
Love them.
They are going to be giving away like 2 free annual passes or subscriptions, I should say, to the app. So that's going to be, so they're doing that, and then we're going to have Tempest back with a couple of, I think, weather stations, which is also really good. So there's some cool prizes and cash winning, but I think what I really like about it, the reason I started it was just to celebrate weather photography around the world. There's photo contests for everything out there, but the ones that have been out for like weather and stuff, they're not storm related as much as they're weather related, which could be anything. It could be a snowy scene on the Brooklyn Bridge in New York when there's people in it. I'm like, I want to award people for going out and working their butt off to get an epic lightning and tornado photo, or that barn or farm or whatever, farmhouse, windmill on the plains where there's a monster super, like what we do chasing storms as photographers and trying to capture scenes is like insanely frustrating and hard, and people have no clue, like, I think, what it takes to do that. It's really kind of nice to like, and I'm not, this isn't me mocking anything, but like go to the Grand Canyon, find a cool foreground, wait for a few nights for a nice sunset. Like but having a supercell or a tornado on the ground and trying to create a composition while your adrenaline's going nuts and there's power lines and other chasers and you're trying to find dirt roads is like a whole other thing. And so I just like to celebrate that. So that's what the contest is about.
Or chase a storm with lots of lightning for 5 hours at night, because you just got to keep doing it, I guess.
You got to keep doing it, man.
You got to reward that. How about the calendar? Still doing the calendar?
I think we are not, and that was really connected with the Andrews McMeel Publishing, and I think we did it 3 or 4 years, and I think maybe it wasn't good enough for them, so they said, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. So that's a little bit of a bummer. I'm trying to decide if we're going to put out our own, but we'll see. It was really nice for people. I really enjoyed that. So.
All right, so we got a few more questions from our non-Academy folks knocking on your office door, Mike. The first one, so Saineth Northeast Chaser, he's had his hand raised, or she, for 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So I'm going to invite you to come up and speak. And if you want to accept that and come ask your question from 45 minutes ago, the floor is yours.
All right, that's good, because I didn't have, like, my questions weren't really like building up. I'm just
good.
Okay, so the first question is, do either of you have any experience in psychological warfare?
That's the one these are one of the questions that are not off limits, right? I saw your question earlier.
It's legit.
Some limits, please. Some limits.
Okay, if you don't have it, then don't bother. If you don't, then don't worry about that question.
Yeah, well, I don't, so I'll pass if Mike's got something to add.
I don't like to do that. I have a friend named Mark who's very good at trolling people on Twitter, and I think he would probably say yeah.
Okay.
All right, one more. What do you got?
Question now.
Okay.
We got this is just less about like actual chasing itself and more just about the chasing community and the culture. Like I'm not super involved in it. And just over the past couple of weeks I've been reading a lot of like essays from like lots of people who have been in the chase community for a real long time. And like I just wanted to know what your kind of thoughts were on kind of the state of things. I know like for what some people are saying, like it's impossible to being photographers is just like impossible because there's so many people out there and everyone's just getting in the way and that like you have some what numbnut drove into a tornado this time and got their footage on the news and it's like completely polluting the public perception of what a chaser is. And I know people like Rich Thompson, Roger Edwards are completely ashamed of being called a storm chaser now and don't want to associate with the term. And you got
really,
and it's you also got like
just quick because we are running out of time. What do you have a question about that or?
I was just kind of more like wanted to hear just some brief thoughts on photography and also and if you think it's like or if you think like chasing is going to shit.
I would like to know well, first off, the Rich Thompson and Edwards, I'd like to know if where you read that they're ashamed of it because I haven't seen that, but granted I'm not on I know them a little bit personally, but not like we talk all the time, but there I can see someone feeling that way. I just hadn't heard that because I know they both still go chasing and stuff, or at least have been. I would say we were both shaking our head like no at the like people get in the way of photos. Like no, you just have to work harder. I generally try to avoid being around people and power lines and drive further down dirt roads to get away from people. So it's possible. You can ask Tim Baca, Amy Howard, like all these photographers that do really well in our contest because they do it every year. Nina DeMunster, Brett Wright, like these guys are out there with all the cars and they're making great photos. There's people that make epic photos. Yes, the conga lines can stink on a really, really busy day and that can ruin it, but you know, you just have to work harder. For me, time lapsing, I work, and that's the biggest probably frustration for me is trying to find scenes that I can show the storm where there's not necessarily people, no power lines, no mountains, and just like whatever. Like it takes a lot of work. You got to put in the work, and that's what makes it extra special and extra fun. I'll let Phil talk in a second about the chaser community, but overall, it's I've tried to I've been doing this long enough now that I've tried to maybe pull away a little bit from not the community, but to stick with the people that I'm really close to in the community. Me and friends with Phil, Hank, Daniel Shaw, Brett Wright, like there's Mike Mez, like there's really, really good, like amazing chasers and people out there. And I've tried to like kind of like foster those relationships more. And because it is a little crazy now. There's a lot more live streamers than there used to be. I've seen some of them where they're kind of got the whole gamer mentality where they're like, hey, we're almost at these subs and people are gifting subs and so there's a lot of like kind of this gaming culture applied to storm chasing, which I think causes people to take risks and drive into tornadoes or get close to getting killed. And I do worry about that. But the problem is I don't want to necessarily not downplay, but be negative about what someone else is passionate about. I know like, Reed will joke around and call guys like me like structure hippies because we just like to sit back and take photos of structure where the real chasers like go get into the freak gorilla hail and all that stuff. And it's like, it's all like fun and jokes and that stuff. Like, but that's what I'm passionate about. He's passionate about what he's passionate about. And if there's people that just want to live stream, if there's people that want to get really close, then, you know, there's people that skydive, there's people that, you know, do the wingsuits, and there's people that solo climb mountains that die all the time. Like, you watch some of these documentaries about climbers and how most of them, I mean, a lot of them die. And they're all doing something that they really love.
On that note.
Yeah, no, but my point is that a lot of people you would think would be like, you shouldn't do that because you're going to die. So don't do that. And so for me to say, hey, don't get so close to the tornado, like, I would rather people not die. But if that's what you want to do, like, I don't know. So I don't like it because if it makes it look, I don't like when chasers are making us look bad in terms of racing through stop signs, killing people, racing through small towns, being like bad people overall. I don't like that part of it. But if you are not risking anyone's life but your own by getting really close, like, that's just what a lot of people do that in kind of their passion. So I don't know. I'm a little bit it's a little tricky there for me. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, and you know, it's life. You know, I don't care what, you know, if you know, I'm a part-time storm chaser, but in my full-time job, I work collegiate athletics. And you could take everybody in collegiate athletics, and there's a ton of great people that are going to be great mentors and spend time with you and chat with you and are friendly that you would never think. Like you Mike is the kind of guy, right? You see him at a Love's gas station before the storms hit, and he'll chat with you and talk with you and get to know you and all that kind of stuff. And in other industries too, they're jerks, and they're just people that just are cold-hearted and not nice and looking for shortcuts. It doesn't matter. I just think, you know, there's so much media now. Media always shines light on the crap, right? On the negative, and it's gonna shine the light on negative in whatever industry you're in. But this is an amazing. I mean, the whole chaser community is an amazing community. If you're just getting started, you're going to find some awesome people.
Yeah, and I agree with every community has that. There's landscape photographers, and people will say there's these landscape photographers who are jerks. They steal people's compositions. They try to go copy them. There's always going to be that, but there's also going to be the great people that outweigh or outnumber, I think, those people. And there are some amazing chaser community. I fully agree with that.
So I think that kind of wraps up our hour. Our professor has to get on to his family and finishing his canes. Did you get canes? What'd you get?
I did. I got canes, and it's almost gone, but there's still a whole chicken finger left and a few fries. I'm laughing at Gabe saying, how am I supposed to save lives if I can't go through red lights? That was really funny. How am I supposed to save lives if I have to stop at every red light? That's the stuff that drives you crazy. But anyway, I do.
Typical Gabe.
Yeah. Saving lives.
He was derailing
he's
the
a
whole
fire starter.
Yeah,
he's the fire starter.
Yeah. No, I mean, that stuff is good.
Kindling.
Especially if you're live streaming, I mean, like, don't go through red lights. Like, I mean, I know that we have all probably been like, I'm on a road at night and there's a storm in front of me and it's 1 a.m. and there's a red light. And I'm like, no one's around. I'm going to go through that red light, but I'm not doing it when I'm chasing a tornado and I'm live streaming and there's other traffic and like all this stuff. Like, you gotta be safe. And I think for chasers, we, you know, especially since, you know, we had the accident back in the day with Corbin getting killed by a couple chasers going through red lights. Like, I try really hard out there, and Phil knows you're racing down dirt roads and there's nobody out there, but guess what? You come to an intersection, I'm slowing down and looking because I don't want to plow through somebody, and I'm trying to do my best. And when I see other people not doing that part really, really frustrates me. But
which is good. I'm always the, you know, don't throw rocks in glass houses. So a lot of times, because I do stupid stuff from time to time. Now, whether I do that, it might be, but I do stupid stuff, right?
Yes.
You know, we always talk about on our podcast, we always had weather fools.
Yeah.
And we'd highlight people doing stupid stuff in weather situations. But we'd always preface that with, I'm a weather fool. We're all kind of weather fools because we chase storms, for crying out loud. That kind of puts us in that category. But Mike, appreciate your time. Professor Olbinski.
It was great to see you again. We're back together again. It was freaking, I loved it. I was bummed you guys kind of shut it down, but now that we get to hopefully see each other more often here, that's great.
I still got to send you the 5 Timer Club jacket.
Oh,
we don't really have one, but I'll make one up for you and maybe a couple more folks that maybe we had on 5 times at the most. But
wow,
you were definitely a part of that club. So it's very select group of maybe 3 people off of like 247 episodes or something is what we did.
Wow, who else would be up there?
I believe Josh Morgerman was in that group.
Yeah. Nice.
And potentially Janice Dean.
Okay.
I'd have to look. She might be 4, and or Rick Smith. Those 2 were borderline.
Nice.
So yeah,
that's awesome. That's an honor. I'm pretty sure you guys did a Star Wars trivia night for me or something once, didn't we?
I think we might have. Yep.
Freaking fun.
Yeah. Anytime I can get a fellow freak of pop culture, I'll always try and take advantage of that.
Yeah. Good. That's smart.
But all of you in the chat, thanks for joining us tonight. This was the first time for both of us, right?
Yeah.
And thanks to Anna, who kind of helped steer the questions for me. Great questions from all of you. That was awesome. Thanks all of you for kind of making this first rookie edition go so smoothly. And I'll tell you this: there's some of you that still have green by your name. I'm looking at the chat. And I'm honestly wondering why would you still have your name green, meaning you're not a part of the Academy? Because right now you can sign up for 30 days for free, and turn your chat name pink or purple or red.
You don't want to be just light rain green. You want to be a freaking like 60 dBz dark
heavy
red
precip.
hail core. Yeah, come on, let's
heavy
go.
Precip. So you can definitely do that. Sign up for that and get 30 days, first 30 days free. And again, the Academy is going to do a lot of this live stuff. So right now these office hours are free, so everybody can kind of jump in and jump on those, which is great. That's a huge benefit for nothing right there. But each of these coaches, they're also doing coaching sessions where they're going to be going and deep diving into some topics and really having some great stuff. And we're kind of getting away from the video library and more going to Discord, a lot of live stuff. So we have a chance to interact with all of you. So looking forward to it. All right. Any closing thoughts, Professor?
No. First off, you didn't look like a noob at all tonight. So well done. You brought your podcast hosting voice and you killed it. And I appreciate all the questions from people. And it's actually fun to talk about this in the middle of December because there's all this other stuff going on. I'm not thinking about storms, but getting to think about storms again is really fun. So appreciate all the questions. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I had some backup questions in case we didn't get a lot of interaction, which we did, which was amazing. And that was going to be one of them. It's December. What are you doing now?
And also, I say hi to Christine Luna Light because she's, I swear, she's on YouTube channel. Yep. She's everywhere.
From Germany. She is from Germany, folks.
Yeah. Shout out.
So that's awesome.
There too.
Oh, really? Cool. Well, sweet. So anyway, thanks that. And I saw Hannah was on and Gabriel was on. B is on as well. So all of you guys on the staff at least folks that I know of. Hope to get to meet you at some point in person, but thanks for joining, everybody.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Night-night.